Hello, hello, hello. Hi, how are things? So OBS updated again. I had to deal with a lot of technical difficulties because it logged me out of Stream Elements, which is what I use to multi-stream. And not just multi-stream. It allows me to do multiple other things, but that's the primary problem. Ended up fixing it. Thankfully, I didn't start tearing my hair out. It was bad though. Uh, Another thing is that it sounds like OBS when it updated changed a little bit like how volume works. And so the music was quieter than I'm used to on my phone. It could have also been a YouTube thing now that I think about it. 'Cause like I'm hearing on Twitch, and Twitch seems perfectly fine. So, what can you do? But yeah, no, today we're doing a little bit more of like the wider world building, as suggested by a friend. We're talking about the cosmology today, and so whether they show up in chat or not, whatever, that is what we're going to be talking about. Also, yes, like I've been saying, we have swapped to Friday. Because I have started class. I've started college. And so, it's good. It's good. I spent most of class looking at samples through a microscope. My head hurt real bad. My eyes hurt not as badly, but still a bit. And it was a wonderful time. I was looking at this plant, and then a type of ant I've never seen before like popped out, and it was a fun surprise. I saw so many bug eggs just like on shit. They were everywhere. It was awesome. We also went outside to collect samples, which was also very fun. Uh, Yeah, I have some work for class that I need to do, but it seems all manageable. I need to like read a couple of chapters in the textbook. I need to like do a post lab, and then it's due on Thursday because that's the yada yada yada, so on and so forth. Uh I'm really upset about a library, like my local library closing in favor of the new one that they're building instead of just keeping the old one and building the new one so that there's more library. Right? I was excited to be the guy that's like, "Oh my God, two cakes!" If you've seen that, then it was just, "Oh my God, two cakes, yes!" But unfortunately, I only get one cake, and it's one that's harder to get to. I'm really pissed about that because eh, and I don't know who to go to necessarily to like voice my complaints, but like, I would like to I'd like to say, "Hey, keep it open. Please. Please keep the library open. I spent so much of my life in that library, please." But, I think it's partially because everything is changing for the worse so fast that any change, even if it's good, feels like a catastrophe. Right? Like I want things to be good. And then there's also the fear of that massive earthquake, plus like the lack of federal response to natural disasters. And it's like, man, if that happens soon, we are on our own unless like California and Canada come to help us. And it's like Canada's also vulnerable because Vancouver, Canada is also in the crossfire, and the island, right? Which is also in British Columbia. And like I don't blame Washington for not trying to help us because they're also in the main crossfire. We are both siblings in this shit ass world we live in. That's not true. The world is beautiful, and I'm lucky to be in it. It's just, sometimes things suck, and it's okay to admit that things suck. But speaking of world, right? Today we're going to be doing the cosmology of uh the wonderful world of Faden. That's not the name of the world, that's the name of the county, but that is what I'm calling it because that is the widest name I have. Right, that is the most like widespread name I have. I don't have a name for the kingdom. I don't have a name for the continent. I don't have a name for the world. I have a name for the county. So that's why I'm saying Faden right now. Here's the music. Splendid. And now let's go to art time. Is this Although before we get to writing, let me go to YouTube to get rid of that. And then or not get rid of, but like minimize that. I want to show some progress that I've been working on. I want to show some progress on a this is for the adventure that I'm writing, which is set in this setting. Like I've been saying, it's set in Crawburg. Let me fix the aspect ratio of Critter real quick, which also, once again, updated. I've updated it. They have new tools now, like a comic panel tool and a functioning text tool and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm so fucking excited. But yeah, no, this is what I've been doing so far. Let me get rid of the sketch layers to really show what's going on. Right, like here's the tree that I've been working on. Imagine if a tree was made of worms. That's not what it is, it's just a tree, but I did make it look like worms. Which is very fun. I enjoy a good worm tree. This is inspired by who is the YouTube channel? Matt Rhodes. Matt Rhodes, he's designing the comic series Dead Gods right now. And he did trees like this, and it makes me happy the way he did it, and so I'm trying to emulate it. It's just that the way I did it makes it look like worms. It just kind of straight up worming it. And by it, let's just to say my trees. And if I put the sketches back, this is like I'm sketching the party. The next one I'm gonna design, who is a person in the back, is the dwarf, or technically Duergar cleric, death domain cleric. In terms of like stats. You know, she's really cool. I like her a lot. Her name is, let me open up the Zine Adventures, because that's where I'm putting a bunch of my adventures into, like all one Obsidian document, and just sort of sorting things that way. That feels like better for me. Where is Wandering NPCs? There it is. The Hounds. That's what I've named the working title of the characters. I like that. This like adventuring party. Remora. She's great. But that is that's what I'm designing next. After I did my fighter lady, which you can see right there. Yes, that is a lady. Let me get Obsidian back up. I already beforehand put a link here to go to Cosmology, but I didn't do anything. Between the twin realities of every I don't know what to call them yet, but basically imagine, if you will, a reality of infinite potential and its counter opposite, sort of like a infinity and nil. And that's those are good names for it. Is potential honed into kinetic. Everything this kinetic, not kinetic, kinetic reality of this kinetic reality is the prime material. In capitalize in vague terms, imagine two bubbles. Two bubbles attached to one another. Between these three how do you spell that? Dimension. Three-dimensional spaces is a flat plane. This is the case for reality, though it is one dimension up. And 2 4 dimensional spaces coming together to create a 3D reality. The closer you the closer you get to the prime let me capitalize that. Prime material, the more connected to it in idea to it these bubbles become. The areas closest to the prime material are known as the Feywild and the Shadowlands. Working titles, I guess, but that makes sense. Reflections of reality. Reflections of material reality through the lens of... Is the lens just L-E-N-S? Lens? That's fine. Reflections of material reality through the lens through different distorted lenses. So many believe there are clear distinctions between the spaces beyond the prime material, such as the idea of upper and lower planes. The truth is that the boundaries of these spaces are blurry and confusing. it is hard to for three dimensional beings to grasp borders which have an entirely alien axis. All right, so this is a good start. This is a thought that I have been having about this reality, right? The reality that Faden finds itself in. Before I continue, I have some cake in front of me. They do not have bread? Let them eat cake. My incredibly tall boat-shaped hair gets cut off because it's too big. Uh, in the guillotine. Mm. Alrighty. What? Hold on. Though the prime material is heavily influenced by both infinity and nil, capitalized nil, which again, working titles, probably gonna change later, but this is about getting ideas out. The same can be said no, the same is the case in case the other way around. As life has as beings on the prime material have gotten more complex with more derived. I'm gonna say more derived with complex derived with more complex ideas. They have had a greater and greater influence on the rest of reality. This influence is more extreme as you get closer to the prime material, which is why... Oh, hey, Artemis 2 daily news conference from NASA. That's good. I'll check that out later. Let me see. This influence is more extreme as you get closer to the prime material, which is why the Feywild and the Shadowlands are so similar, or share many similarities with the prime material. While it is the case that beings such as humans and dwarves, dwarves, halflings, and other natives to the prime material and other natives to the prime material or native. Yeah, no, that's a good way of phrasing it. I'm trying to find a good way to have it flow as well, because I want to do as little editing as possible to these. Once I put it all into like books and shit. Created spirits. Maybe not. I don't know how to phrase it. Have did their ideas that same can also be said of all life as well. There are many thoughts. No. Yeah. A life has an influence on infinity and mill. I don't know how to necessarily phrase this yet, but basically there is like the primal idea of hot and fire and things like this have created like this aggregate like idea within infinity, right? Of like or of like of fire. Same with like and I also kind of want to tie it to the medieval idea of the four humors, where it's like hot, cold, wet, and dry as like basic ideas. So like for instance, obviously hot, fire. Cold, wind, wet, water, dry, earth, right? These are like four primal ideas as things have sort of that I actually think sort of come before things got more complicated, and then they mixed together, and then the ideas sort of formed. There are four basic ideas that coincide with the belief of the four humors. The idea is of hot, cold, wet, and dry. These primal not these primal, these base forces are they the elemental planes, or did they or did they mix together to be the elemental planes? Because like I basically, like, you could say that each one of these aspects is one of the elements, right? The classic four elements. Hmm. The ideas of hot, cold, wet, and dry, these space forces. Yeah, no, they form the elemental planes, I think. Form the elemental planes of fire, and I'm gonna put these in order of like what I said before. Wind, water, and earth. Well, these base forces. Actually, I think that these forces, like as stuff got more slightly more complicated, like combined with conceptions, like even basic conceptions, into the elemental. These base forces form the uh combined with Basic associations and to form the elemental planes of fire, wind, water, and earth. There we go. So I think that this is the case. I don't know how many like people in universe currently believe a lot of this. Like I don't know if they know a lot of it yet. Like the Renaissance, like the in-universe Renaissance will come and I think at that point they'll be able to like start testing these sorts of things, seeing that there are these basic building blocks of reality and basically like the development of science but based on this. Mm. Wrong window, wrong window. As time goes on, actually, I'll make this a new paragraph, I think. Yeah, all right. As time goes on, ideas combine and mix further into things such as the elements. No, the periodic elements. No, I'll formatting, which doesn't matter, but I'd like to format anyway. These elements I just got an idea. Like they're at this point, it's sort of a basic idea of like, what if there's like everything is within the dreams of something. Right? You see ideas of this in like Lovecraft, you see ideas of this in like the Elder Scrolls. Like it's there is a precedent of like, what if? Right? Like, what if we are like everything is within a prime idea of like something that is sleeping. Mm. Sorry, I am looking. Okay, first time chat. Hey man. Hey man, how's it going? The last time somebody messaged like that, I accepted a scammer into my Discord server that tried to scam my community. I'm not gonna ban you, but if you were part of my community, you would already know how to join the Discord. Yeah, so, sorry, bud. No can do. If I find that username in the Discord, you are going to get banned. Because I feel like you are a scammer. People don't act like you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. A first time chat saying I love your stream and enjoy being a part of your fan community. Like, come on, dude. Wrong window. Within the dream of some unknown consciousness. Of course that's spelled incorrectly. I forgot a letter. A singular letter. Within the dream of some unknown consciousness, there are two prime forces. Infinity and nil. Infinite potential and twin concepts of everything and nothing. Cosmological hold on, the cosmological 1 and 0. There we go, tied it. Tied it into something. Within the dream of some unknown consciousness, there are two prime forces, infinity and nil. Twin concepts of everything and nothing. The cosmological 1 and 0. Between the twins of infinity and nil is potential honed into kinetic. This kinetic reality is the prime material. In vague terms, imagine two bubbles attached to one another. Between these three-dimensional spaces is a flat plane. This is the case for reality, though it is one dimension higher. two four-dimensional spaces coming together to create a 3D reality. I kind of like create a 3D realm. Realm sounds better. The closer you get to the prime material, the more connected to these connected to it these bubbles become. The areas closest to the prime material are known as the Feywild and the Shadowlands, reflections of material reality through different distorted lenses. Though many believe there are clear distinctions between the spaces beyond the prime material, such as the area of upper and lower planes, the truth is that the boundaries of these spaces are blurry and confusing. It is hard for three-dimensional beings to grasp borders which have an entirely alien axis. Though the prime material is heavily influenced by both infinity and nil, the same is the case the other way around. As beings in the prime material have gotten more derived with more complex ideas, they have had a greater and greater influence on the rest of reality. This influence is more extreme as you get closer to the prime material, which is why the Feywild and the Shadowlands share many similarities with the prime material. While it is the case that beings such as humans, dwarves, halflings, and other natives to the prime material have manifested their ideas, the same can also be said of all life. Alright, said of... Oh, cat wants out. There we go. Love you. Life as a whole. Period. There are four basic ideas that coincide with the belief of the four humors. The ideas of hot, cold, wet, and dry. These base forces combine with basic associations to form the elemental planes of fire, wind, water, and earth. As time goes on, ideas combine and mix further into things such as the periodic elements. These elements group together are what eventually form these elements. These elements are the basic building blocks of the prime material. All energy moves in waves. These waves form These waves have frequency. Hold on. which is the current. Hold on, which build into currents. Splendid. These waves have frequency which build into currents. Alright. Well, hold on. I'll get to that later. Cosmology moves in waves. That's not what I wanted to delete. These waves have frequency, which is the which can Hold on, how do I say this? Because there are areas where they have where like the frequencies harmonize, and there are areas where they are disconnected, where they are dissonant. These frequencies can harmonize and these waves have frequency. These frequencies can harmonize and in some cases can create pathways. Pathways of sorts between different realms of thought. The ability to manipulate the frequencies of reality Hold on, no. The manipulation of the frequencies of reality is known as magic. Due to this, it is commonly believed that bards were some of the first users of magic. There we go. So I've had stuff like this written down for a while. I hear a cat yelling. What are you saying? Hello. It is good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Splendid. This is a lot of writing today. I'm on a roll, baby. Due to this, it is common to believe that bards are were some of the first users of magic. I will sort this later, but I want to put something down. Because all of reality is built off of concepts and ideas. Many of these said concepts and ideas can also be classified as alive. There we go. Can also be classified as alive. They can even have and ideas of their own. I just lay you up and I hear you scratching. Hello, why don't you just sit and rest for a bit? Alright. Because all of reality is built off of concepts and ideas, said concepts and ideas can also be classified as alive. They can have I don't know if I need to specify that they can have concepts and ideas of their own, because like they're alive, right? The Fae are the what people are like around Faden, like the area, like would call the Fae. To some as the Feywild and the Shadowlands, known to some. Because I think other people have different names for them, different ideas of what they are, and so I think like I think that like you can I'm trying to form ideas. Ah! Big, powerful ideas in my brain. Because all of reality is built off of the concept of ideas. Build off of concepts and ideas. The more baso. If I spelled it right. Alright. I was trying to figure it out if I said basil or basil. The more basil. Give me spices. Give me herbs. I need the idea of basil. I need a basil idea. Because all reality is built off of concepts and ideas. Said concepts and ideas can be classified as alive. The more basil and an idea, and the more that other ideas feed into the more powerful that idea is. This is how gods, in parentheses, for a lack of a better term, poor. There is no distinct line between a local spirit and a god. Oh, hold on, actually, let me redo that, because if you look at, like, a foundational idea, I keep saying fire, right? Imagine the idea of fire, right? Incredibly powerful, everything that involves fire in some way feeds into it, like fire and heat and, like, or let's say heat, right? Like the idea of heat, fire feeds into it. Everything that is associated with heat in some way, like feeds into it, and so it is like a very strong thing. While there is no distinct line, you can very clearly tell the difference between that and like the idea of that specific rock. The specific pebble in my boot right now, which I don't have one. I'm not wearing a boot. I'm wearing slippers, but still, like, you know, the idea of a snake in my boot. There's a very distinct level of like difference there, and like there's a difference between that snake and the idea, the general idea of snake. Right? And so like I'm trying to figure out how some of the races got created like dwarves, like if dwarves technically evolved, or if like they formed from a more primal idea and were just like or like if they were created by something specifically, right? If they formed, if they evolved, if they were just like created, if like that's what I'm trying to figure out now. I had to get the other stuff out of the way and written. There is no distinct line between God, lowercase, and spirit. There you can typically tell the difference in power between the I the idea of heat and the idea of a specific pebble. Or the idea of your left eye. See, adding stuff like the idea of your left eye is interesting because like it's sort of a more metaphysical version of like if you keep going down, everything is like life is made up of cells, which is made up of elements, or not elements yet, which is which are made up of molecules, which are made up of elements, which are made up of like specific parts of an atom, all the way down until like the lowest bit. It's like that before ideas, and almost kind of like inversed a little bit, where like the more derived it is, the like the smaller it is as an idea, the more like derived it is, I guess, in thought, right? Like the idea of humanity is older and more powerful than like the idea of a specific group of people, which is older than a specific idea of like a subset of that group, which is older than the idea of you. And the idea of you is older than the idea of specific parts of you. At least that's sort of the idea. I opened the wrong thing yet again. I'm just going to close Krita for now because I keep going to Krita instead of Obsidian because like the windows are right next to each other. And then one ends up covering the other, and then it's a whole mess. Yeah, it's a whole mess, you know how it is. And something that I think is interesting about the way I'm doing it is that it's less that like it's less the consensus based universe specifically of like Warhammer is sort of the best example. It's kind of an inverse of that where like everything is an idea. Right? Like it's the inverse of actually I don't know if it's inverse. I'm a little tired still. I went to bed at about 9 because I was just real tired. I was in class. I was doing a lot of school stuff. Then I went to watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie with some friends. I want to say I will not say anything about it. It was a good time. It was very good. It was a nice time. I smiled throughout much of that movie. People are like, oh, it doesn't have that good a story. It's like, yeah, Miyamoto had a direct hand in the movie. Do you think that it's gonna have as good a story as the game that has a good story in spite of Miyamoto, not because of him? Like, come on, man! It's Mario. It's Mario and Shigeru Miyamoto had like a direct hand in it. Uh, do you play Super Mario Wonder because it has a fantastic story? No, you play it because it's fun. You play it because it's fun and it's a good time to play it. And I think it's the same with the movie. It's fun and it's a good time to watch it. Right? Like it sparked a lot of joy in my heart, and that is enough. That is more than enough for me. It doesn't have. The thing is, movies don't have to be cinematic masterpieces to be good. Right? They don't have to have the most engaging story out there. They don't have to, like, all that. They have to be a good time. In some form, they have to be enjoyable to view. Horror movies, any genre, any genre of movie, they have to be a good time, and I believe that like the very core is fun. Right? The very core of the movie is good. I love the visuals every time like Super Mario Galaxy music came on. It was great. It was generally well animated. A good time. Enjoyed it. Don't mind me readjusting myself. I popped my leg. My entire leg. Well, that's not true. I popped my hip. My leftward hip. I'll make a leftward hip thrust. I just had an interesting idea about the soul. I'm just gonna say the idea of you. There we go. What makes up the soul? It's the collective idea of a singular being. I'll just say something. I like the sound of ideas of a particular something. The soul of a city is made up of all the collective ideas of those within it and of and within said city. The soul of a person is made up of all the collective in the same way, comma, the soul of a person is made up of all the collective ideas the others as well as themselves. Hold as well as hold on, let me as well as the ideas they hold of themselves. There we go. This extends all the way up to the aggregate. That's not how you spell that. How do you spell it? 2 G's and an E instead of an I. Aggregate. This extends all the way up to the aggregate idea of life itself. So I dropped a thing. I needed that thing not dropped, thank you. I have obtained it. I have obtained the thing. The thing was a pen. A pen of red. A red pen, if you will. Welcome to Penn Island. Come with me to Penis Land. Drags you away. What makes up the soul is the collective idea of a particular thing. The soul of a city is made up of the collective ideas of and within said city. In the same way, the soul of a person is made up of all the collective ideas others hold of them, as well as the ideas they hold of themselves. This extends all the way up to the of life as a whole. In this way, there are beings that could be classified as gods of dwarves, elves, humans, half orcs, and then I'm just gonna say ETC, etc. In this way, there are beings that could be classified as gods of dwarves, elves, humans, orcs, etc. And so I think this is how I am putting in, like, you know, like, the god of dwarves, the god of elves, the god of humans, the god of orcs, the god of halflings, just, yes. Like, I don't know though if like I don't think people are expected to all know of or believe in these things, and like if they do it could be just like a cultural idea. The thing is though, what I am saying is the cosmology. It is not necessarily the belief of people. So, like, different groups of dwarves can have different pantheons. Some can have singular deities, so on and so forth, that they believe in, and like that they have ideas of, and everything, and then they are real. But there is also the collective idea of dwarves. That is the collection and like the generality of what is a dwarf. And I think that's why with things it's like you know, but before time had a yada yada, and before you know, before the yada yada yada, so on and so forth, you know, beyond the mists of time, uh is because like as ideas got more and more complicated, they started forming into these beings, I think. right? Beings as in like humans, dwarves, orc, halflings. I guess elves too, but elves are like of the Feywild, and then they were tricked into giving away that spark, right? Like giving away that, and then they like became material beings stuck in a world where they are fundamentally lacking an axis of like in a way, it's sort of the idea of cosmic horror, where like they understood reality in a more fundamental level, and then their ability to comprehend it was taken away, but they still have that memory of knowing. They have the memory of knowing, but they can't have it anymore. Yeah, I like that. I like this. Here's what I'm going to do. I will be right back. Let me put up BRB text on both YouTube and in where are you? You points through the screen at you. I am going to grab water, and then once I grab water, uh I will be like back. So sit back, relax, enjoy the Outer Wilds soundtrack. Maybe get up, go stretch, get a snack, get a drink. I will be back shortly, and we will continue. Alrighty, I have returned. Let me get my headphones back on. Let me get rid of the BRB text. BRB text, goodbye. I figured out an idea to explain the concept of like, the basic idea of a dwarf and so on and so on. Is that because all of reality is a dream within, like, you know, it is all of reality is within the dream of some consciousness, which does not need to be really explained more than that necessarily. Like the ideas kept getting more and more complex, and then the dreamer had the idea. Right, like, basically the dreamer had the idea of dwarf, had the idea of human, had the idea of orc, had the idea of fae, had the idea of like all these things, right? Like they had the basic idea of these things, and those ideas, for a lack of a better term, are sort of the gods of such and so forth. And this also allows for all the sort of like ideas of like what would be classified in some like in universe cosmologies as like the planes, right? Of course there's a place and an idea of order, right? The concept of order, right? All these things, and I think the closer you get to an idea being in the prime material, the more it kind of makes sense, and like the less weird they look. So like I think that right, so like there's also the idea of bear. Hey Gremlin, how's it going? I'm explaining the cosmology of the universe. And I'm sort of starting to come to a consensus that sort of allows people to go, I know this thing from DnD, that makes sense, but still making it like my own thing. I know this thing from DnD, I understand. But like have it be messy and weird and like allow for infinite variations. Basically, like having the universe be within the mind of a dreamer, sort of your H.P. Lovecrafts, your Elder Scrolls. Which, by the way, in case you didn't know, Elder Scrolls is all within the dream of a dreamer of some sort, like some sort of entity, and once they wake up, everything ends. Oh no, I'm explaining to out loud to the recording. Also, they are not here. They are not here. They are not real. They were like, hey, can you add me on Discord? Can you add me on Discord? I am totally real. I'm not making that mistake again. Splendid. You know more than like most of Elder Scrolls. You know more about Elder Scrolls than most people, I think, because most people just know Skyrim, and that's perfectly fine. That is no judgment to anybody who, like, honestly doesn't care about wider Elder Scrolls lore enough to learn. I was like, I like it. It's a good setting. It's a good setting. There's stuff in it that I don't really like. And then there's stuff that I do like, and you know, it's very cool. But you know, it's sort of that idea. And like over time. Oh yeah, I remember that. It's been a while since I've heard anything on it. There's like no videos on it. I sometimes just like to peruse the UESP wiki. Is they have that good shit. I also like Uriel Septim's like invasion of Akavir, like the Uriel Septim the Fifth's invasion of Akavir, like that's a cool bit of lore. I want to know more about that continent, please. Kirkbride was, oh yeah, Kirkbride was on that good shit when he wrote it. Not only was he on that good shit, but he was being inspired by a lot of like French comic writers. And so like you just get some of that weird shit. Also, like it's actually not necessarily confirmed that he was actually high when writing it. It's just a thing, like technically not confirmed. So I'm not gonna say for sure. Maybe that good shit and the good shit in question is like autism or something. I don't know. Some form of neurodivergency in general. A lot of that tends to also make shit weird, and in a very interesting way. But yeah, no, basically like the whole of what I've been sort of coming up with and sort of trying to describe is the idea that like first came like basic ideas. Broke, Kirk, woke, Kirkbride. We are Kirkbride, we carry the flame. I know Kirk is like Castle. No, no, I was wrong. It's a church. Kirk is a church. I was wrong. I was wrong. Kirk is a church. Kirkbride then is a very interesting name. Let me. No, that's just actually his name. Yeah, no, it's Michael Kirkbride. Kirkbride, aka Spock. I, I, I suppose. Man, and like these basic ideas come together and form more complicated ideas, and then you get the basic idea of like dwarf, human, orc, etc. And you could kind of classify those as like the gods of these things because they are the aggregate idea, like they're the collective idea of this thing. And then once things get more complicated and everything and stuff starts having their own ideas of stuff, that feeds into and changes what it means to be this basically one big universe of I think therefore I am. And imagine magic is being able to pluck the energy of this, like kind of being able to pluck the brain waves of the universe, kind of like an instrument, and like the frequencies of thought. And if you can have things be in a particular frequency, you can harmonize with like the other parts of reality, or like you can like manifest magic basically. right? Like bringing ideas into being through frequencies. But do the NPCs have feelings when the when the game is turned off? I think that when the game is turned off, they stop existing. You see, it's not like HLVRAI where like the game plays itself. Although, here's an interesting idea. Recurring dreams, right? People can have recurring dreams or sequel dreams as well, where it's like they go to bed, they sleep, right? They have a dream. They zero sum like the Dwemer. While that is only a theory, that is one that I subscribe to personally. Thank you, Nightbot. I subscribe to personally is that they found out that everything is a dream and then they stopped existing. I also like the alternate, like, of that where somebody just has so much willpower that they just go, no, I exist anyway. I think, therefore I am, motherfucker. And then they just keep living. They just keep living. Exactly. I'm not great with terms, but I'm great with ideas. I remember the idea. They keep living. It's very cool and awesome and epic. And then they manifest their they move forth into reality with their entire Descartes. I dreamt I was a butterfly, or perhaps I am a butterfly dreaming I am a man. Like the thing is too, because like everything is ideas. A thing's soul, and by the way, not just living things have souls in this universe, it's like everything. That sort of feeds into the idea of animism where everything has a spirit, but also a little bit into the idea of totemism, which is more an academic idea than anything, to describe different belief systems, where like things are also symbols that represent ideas. So like the idea of a bear, right? Like the totemic idea of a bear, for instance. Sort of like how there's aggregate idea of dwarf, right? And that has specific meanings and that represents specific things. But like there are also more specific spirits, right? Like it's sort of feeding into that idea, getting more and more complicated as things go along. And so, uh, no, there's not. But oh wait, no, that's a different setting. Fuck, I can't say that there's a massive a dark elf war because that's a different setting of mine. That's my Faldur setting where there's like a massive dark elf war. No, I don't know. This setting is new. And maybe something weird and cool like that'll come about later. This is sort of the Elder Scrolls arena of this setting, for a lack of a better term, where it's like it's the initial idea, and then it'll get like more defined later. Hopefully not with like an Oblivion and Skyrim era where it like becomes less distinct or defined in a lot of ways, feels a little more generic in a lot of ways. You can tell I have opinions about the lore that many others share, but I have come to on my own volition. I have fully realized, pretty early on, relatively speaking, that like I don't have to be unique in any specific way. It just matters that I come to my opinions on my own and I'm not taking them from anyone else. Right? Other people believe that the Morrowind and Redguard era of the lore is the best part of the lore. And I independently also believe that. But also I'm not pretending like I'm the only one that had that belief or idea or opinion. And like I kind of wish that Oblivion and Skyrim kind of continued in the older lore a little bit and were like weirder and more distinct as Elder Scrolls a little bit. In the way that I like, but in the end that's selfish because both of those games were incredibly popular. And so many people love those games. So many people like genuinely love Oblivion and Skyrim. Right? Like and so like, you know, the how much authority do I, a random fuck on the internet, have over not only other people's opinions, but a setting that I have no hand in? You know, like how. I have all of it. Very well, very well. Todd Howard, come here, you ingrate. Takes away all the knowledge of like goes back in time, takes away all the knowledge of Lord of the Rings and Song of Ice and Fire from his head. Also does that for like all of the other people that worked on both of those games because like people pretend that it was just Todd Howard, but it was like fully a team project all the way through with the entire team. What makes up the soul is the collective ideas of it. I think because of how this setting forms. Become the prisoner, Mentos Cesaro, achieve Tim. Exactly. I think that if people like if somebody realizes that everything is just a bunch of ideas, I think they awaken more like mages in the world of darkness than zero sum. Because here's the thing, right? Their soul is also made up of the collective. It's the collective idea of somebody is their soul, right? In this universe. So like other people. It's more of a we think, therefore we are, versus I think, therefore I am. So, like, just because one person realizes that they are the dream of a mysterious dreamer and that everything is constructed from ideas doesn't mean that they stop existing, because, let's say, their mother has an idea of them. The random person on the street who that just walked by them has an idea of them. Their pet dog has an idea of them. They're like school teacher back when they were like a little kid has an idea of them, right? And so like they're not just gonna disappear. But I think knowing that everything is like just thoughts and dreams and ideas and belief. Yeah, Chim is just command line argument access. Yeah, so I think it's more likely to be like that than like people just suddenly disappear, because, like, you'd have to be forgotten fully to kind of disappear. And something I was thinking about, because I believe reincarnation in some form exists, like in a way, but it's more that like your energy. Oh yeah, I'll keep saying what I'm saying, and then I'll read your message once you send it. Reincarnation in this setting in a way exists, of like the energy of a person's soul goes back into reality, and like there is a Terry Pratchett, GNU Terry Pratchett. I don't know. I have to look. I have to look up this reference. I see. I a Dr. Hero look comes out of my mouth like some sort of horrible creature, like stretching my form. A man only dies when he's forgotten. Right, that sort of thing, but like the energy cycle of ideas and the soul in reality just flows in currents, right? Like energy cannot be created or destroyed, and if the energy of the universe is ideas, then ideas are never truly forgotten. They are cycled and moved and changed and shifted and rebuilt and like deconstructed. I think in the setting over time, I think everything formed into two different bubbles. I think originally it was just like a mist, like not a mist, but it's sort of a nebula, right? Like a cloud of thought, and it was basic forms of like uh hot, cold, wet, dry as like ideas, and then it forms, but then it gets more complicated where like the ideas of, well, no, actually the idea of 1 and 0, yes and no, are basic, and then it sort of forms from there. But no, that is not dead which can eternally remember, and exactly. Yeah, precisely. Like the thing is too, how much can somebody be forgotten in this universe if it is all a dream of some dreamer, right? That is why like the energy just shifts and moves and everything. And the only time that everything truly comes to an end is like when the dreamer wakes up. And for the purposes of the universe, that is an infinite time away, right? Like all of time, all of everything is within the dream, so effectively that is infinity away. Let me drink some water. Also, strange eons, you say? That's a YouTube show I enjoy. A fun YouTube channel. They are only slightly annoying sometimes. But like in that very specific, like in that very Tumblr specific way that is like very endearing actually, but it like is like a little quirky. Let me write down the idea I had, because I just stated an idea, and this is an idea I've had for a while, but I've sort of actually formulated it in a... that is not dead, which can on the internet lie. Exactly, nothing's ever dead on the internet. I already said it. It's about the reincarnation. Reincarnation exists in a sense. The energy and with strange rains, even Anisir may die. One day that fuck who had bad copper may eventually die. You can't tell, but I'm aggressively wagging my finger when I say that. Notice how I got the finger, by the way. For legal reasons, I have to say I got the finger legally. It is ethically sourced. It's an ethically sourced finger. That makes up a person is a part of the grand currents of reality. A reincarnation exists in a sense. Things can die. They still live in a way through the memories and lingering impacts. Memories, ideas, and lingering impact said thing had in life. Had on others in life. There we go. The flow and the ongoing influence of these ideas. There should not be a 3 there. There should be an A. The 3 and the E are right next to each other, so I apologize. Sometimes I put an E, a 3 where it shouldn't be, when I'm not looking at the keyboard. Or the K3 board if I'm if I'm typing bad. The flow of these ideas and the ongoing influence they have are a symptom. Is it a Y? Symptom of the overall flow of energy throughout. There should be an H. Throughout all reality. And are but one part of the great cycle. There we go. Or of a great cycle. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, if there's infinity and nil, what do they add? Because it feels like I'm doing a lot of... What? Come on, IMDb! Oh my god, yeah, no, Michael Kirkbright's name is in Minecraft story mode. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, I didn't get into the Elder Scrolls until, like, honestly, a bit later. I grew up on Minecraft story mode, man. No, Michael Kirkbride had a hand in that. Looks like after you left Bethesda, you got hired by Telltale? Aww. Known for the Walking Dead, man. The writer previous The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Immortals of Avium, however that's pronounced, The Walking Dead, The Final Season, Batman: The Enemy Within, Minecraft Story Mode, the Telltale series, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. What? Let me look. It is a video game. Very descriptive. It is a fantasy adventure game. It looks like in a world shaped by conflict and bloodshed over the control of magic, known as the Ever War, one soldier with newfound powers is reluctantly thrust into mankind's endless battle. So that sounds kind of generic a little bit. He was one of the, like, three, like, it had 3 writers, and he's one of them, so I don't know. I realized I started shrimping. Let me fix my posture so I'm not a shrimp anymore. What would have happened if they pressed the other button? Shrimp Town. Oh. That makes up a person as part of the grand And are but one part of a great cycle. There we go. Seems like a fantasy shooter with spells instead of guns. Oh, I'll have to check it out sometime. I mean, just because Kirkbride worked on it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good, so I don't know. But also, like, so many of the things he worked on are considered, like, beloved. Like just, you know, beloved in general. I Kirkbride really peaked with Morrowind? I mean, yeah, I guess. Oblivion is also a good story, right? I'm not gonna pretend like it's not a good story. Like people kind of actually like know him as an artist, but he's only really done for games, only done the art for like Morrowind and Redguard. Wikipedia, give me unto you. Because I was looking at IMDb. Elder Scrolls, Elder Scrolls Morrowind developed large portions of the Morrowind world. Uh, Apparently, he's in communication with the team members developing Skywind, which is like that Morrowind, like a remaster done by fans in the Skyrim engine. He's also worked on ESO. Like he's done some work on ESO. He also did stuff on Skyrim, right? Like I saw stuff on this before from generally trusted sources. And he contributes heavily to the Imperial Library. I want to find more of his private work because I know he does private work. And like I'd like to see more of that, but I can't find it. His Tumblr's gone. He used to have a Tumblr that he posted on, but it's gone now, I think. I can only really find him on LinkedIn, and that's kind of that's cancer. LinkedIn is it's cancer. As ideas, as foundational. No, just as ideas. As ideas have as ideas have he mainly worked on the Knights of the Nine DLC in Oblivion. I'm honestly not familiar with the DLCs of Oblivion. Developed over time? Some have some have become more connected to some other concepts than others. These general group groupings form realms. I like the word realm. Hero of the realm. These general groupings form realms where the how do I say this? These general groupings form realms where the flow. Oh no, where the current flow in so like I'm trying to format it, right? But basically the idea that like as ideas become more associated with one another, the currents of thought, right, sort of group together. They sort of form loops. Sort of like how there's the current around Antarctica. There's that one current that goes to Europe and makes it a lot of it warmer than it normally would be. There's like the one that makes the Pacific Northwest wetter than it normally would be. Otherwise. Flows in currents, much like in the ocean. Energy from the prime material is more more likely in parentheses, but not guaranteed to stay within the prime material. The same is true for turns out the shit Kirkbride was alcohol and benzos? Really? What about 15 years after he wrote the Morrowind lore? Alright, makes sense. So, yeah, people thought that he was, like, on shit when working on Morrowind, but it seems like maybe that was just, he was just sober. Maybe. Yeah, so yeah, no, I feel like Morrowind was just his pure creativity. I hope I never peak. Right. I hope that my writing just gets more interesting and more refined as I go along, and my ideas keep being good until I decide that I'm done or I die. Right, that's my hope. I hope what I write next is better than what I write before. Or his anxiety and depression, which he stated was the reason he started with alcohol and benzos. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I can see that causing somebody to take shit. Self-medicate, as it will. The same is true for... Or I should just say, for instance, comma, energy from the prime material is more likely, but not guaranteed, to stay within the prime material. I think I already put something like this down in the stuff for the elves, but because they had a better idea of how reality functioned because they were of the Feywild and thus were basically higher plane of existence, and then they lost the understanding of the extra axis of reality, basically becoming going from fourth dimensional beings to third dimensional beings. Because of that, they generally understand things better, and there's like a little bit of an existential crisis of like, now that they're material beings, are the elves, like the elves being born now are not guaranteed to have always been elves. So like there's this idea of like, oh no, elves are being lost. The people, the elves being born might not be actual elves. Like that actually matters, but to them it matters. Sort of the idea that like as time goes on, they have less and less and less and less of a connection to the realm of the Feywild. Dude, what if Vikings did the David Lynch Dune thing? And guess what? It's the hypest shit ever. And then Skyrim. And then Skyrim happens. And it's still cool. It's just less interesting, I guess. I love the non-canon ending to the Elder Scrolls universe where it's like, hey, what if this dude has a baby and that baby is the new universe, bro? Like I fucking love that. I love that like Kirkbride wrote that. There's a comic of it, and that's just like, yeah, no, I guess that's how the universe ends, where it's like the literally births the new universe or something. That's okay. What if I think Empreg Yowie births the new universe? Like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's how it works. Like, I may be wrong. I need to reread it, but like that's what I remember. Time to drink a little bit more water. Yeah. Starting to run out of steam a little bit on this because I've been like, this is a lot of idea all at once. All right, to review all of my incoherent ramblings. Uh, within the dream of some unknown consciousness, there are two prime forces, infinity and nil, twin concepts of everything and nothing, the cosmological 1 and 0. Between the twins of infinity and nil is potential honed into kinetic. Unused ideas for Skyrim. Killing Talos was a hard sell. The Thalmor killing Talos by using a mythical sized up extraplanar Death Star laser Ariel's bow. It's a literally hedged. Ethereus. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's really funny. Instead, they want to do time travel to stop Talos from existing. And instead, they want to do time travel, which is also funny. That is very cool, but still, like, yeah, we want to like Death Star laser snipe, Talos. The weird thing to me, though, although it works with like, oh yeah, Skyrim is 200 years in the future. With other stuff, kind of feels weird, but like in this instance, it works. Is that like now it's been a couple hundred years. Skyrim now worships basically the Nine. Right now they worship Talos, even though they didn't really before, and so now they care about Talos worship, and then suddenly now it's like the traditional way. You know, sort of like sort of like places like Sweden and Norway Christianizing, where it's like uh uh and then Iceland as well, I believe, and then going, hey, we're harkening back to tradition, haha, here's the Eddas. I think one Edda, I forget. It's sort of like that, I guess, but with the Nine from the Empire, right? Like that could work. I don't think that's technically confirmed though. Uh, and now like Ulfric and a lot of the other Nords are fucking pissed. Like I like this guy. I like this guy. He's our main man. Even though like in the time of Oblivion and Morrowind, they didn't worship the Nine. They had their own deities. And like who gave them the Thu'um was like Kine, I believe, and like uh, uh and all such. But still, like with everything being like hundreds of years in the future, it's now like deep into the Fourth Era. It's the Mede Dynasty. It makes sense that now a lot of Nords would be into stuff like Talos worship, especially if they continue to be like colonized by the Empire and the Empire's beliefs and like Cyrodiil's beliefs sort of bleed into Skyrim. I saw this like fixing Skyrim video where they were like, make it only a couple decades after Oblivion and Morrowind. Oblivion specifically, because that actually happens really soon after Morrowind, if I remember right, like technically in terms of years. Like it's both under Uriel Septim the Seventh's reign. Well, I mean, the beginning of Oblivion happens under his reign, and then he dies. That's sort of the main crux of the game. Um, yeah, like it was like that. They were like, hey, it's actually these other like, you know, these other gods that like, uh, yeah, the Arena to Oblivion is under his reign. Yeah, no, but then it's like, you know, man, I can't believe that the first like 4 Elder Scrolls games is all you're a prisoner and are freed by, I think, like Uriel Septim the Seventh specifically. Definitely with 3 and 4. And then Skyrim goes hundreds of years. Alduin comes back and wants to destroy the world, but actually he probably just wants to rule the world because he got like time jumped to the Fourth Era from the First Era. And in the First Era, his job wasn't to destroy the world yet. Like he had like a dragon empire and was ruling shit. right? So like that's probably what he actually wanted to do. And so you have to go, hey, fuckwad, destroy the world and shit. That's what you're put here to do, fuck ass, and then you kill him. Or maybe you don't kill him and just never finish the game and have like thousands of hours in it, who knows? Yeah, like the fact that 1 through 4 like don't actually happen in all that much time from each other is wild. It's fucking wild. Do you think there's a like Beyond Skyrim, you know, Project Hammer Rebuilt esque thing, but for Daggerfall? Like it. I probably want to check that out, even though I'm not like the biggest fan of Daggerfall era lore. Behold the fucking whatever the other adventure where it's like you're in a tower and shit. Beams it into your brain, beams you into reality. I didn't mean to say beams you into reality. I don't know what I meant to say, but like it's so funny. It makes you real. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Let me drink more water. What have I not covered with the cosmology? Because I don't think the specific gods really, like, they matter, right? But I don't really have specific names for them, and they're really fluid, and like they're more part of everything. Right? They're sort of part of all this more than like sort of their own things, right? There's that. It's a little bit complicated, but it still allows for like, hey, here's gods, I guess. So I don't know where to go from this right now. Like today, I mostly wanted to talk about the cosmology, and I've yapped about it for a while. At first, all right, so something clicked into place for me just now, though. I was confused, like, oh, why is like why there's like infinity and nil, right? You know, the working planes. In D&D cosmology, it'd be like positive and negative energy planes, I guess. But right now, I'm calling them infinity and nil. And then, like, further within, in a way, right? Like trying to explain a weird concept with limited language, yada yada yada. There's like the there's 4 planes within, and then they sort of coalesce and complicate into other ideas further and further down until like you get Pelinol had a Wait, Pelinol had a Patroclus? You mean the not the bull guy? Like not the bull guy who might have been his nephew, right? The father of Minotaurs. Yeah, no, I know, but you're saying that Pelinal had a... Yeah, Pelinal had a... Huh. Like, I knew about, Pelinal, like, Pelinal Whitestrike having his basically nephew, I guess, maybe. It was a mutual, like, uncle-nephew relationship, kind of, so it's really weird. And who is, like, the bull guy with wings. The line changed from something like a hot play with Pelinal, who Pelinal often shared a tent with at night, to a hot plate who Pelinal loved well. That same hot plate gets killed, causing Pelinal to go on one of his crazed destruction sprees. Oh! This is new to me! Oh, man! Man! Pelinal had a Patroclus. Or Patroclus. It depends on the writing. I'm gonna say Patroclus or I thought I heard somebody opening a door, but it was my cat sneezing. If you're confused about why I was confused about that, I have, music in my ear. I don't know how... I don't know about specifically a femboy. Because that was a hoplite who was a soldier. Definitely a boyfriend. They were definitely queer for each other. Pelinal is also interested in what's her name, the slave queen of Cyrodiil. I forget her name. I apologize, I'm bad with names. So I'm not gonna specifically say, oh, they were gay for each other, but they were definitely queer for each other. They were definitely in love. Alicia, thank you. Yeah. I watched a whole lore video on Pelinal like a few days ago, so I'm remembering a lot more of the concepts. It's a video that I've watched before, so it's sort of a watching something while I'm eating situation. Camp on campaign, one might say. Yeah, precisely. I mean, yeah. All's fair in love and war, and it seems like Pelinal was in love during war, so it's fair, you know. I'm doing like voice stuff to try and like emphasize that I'm shrugging because like, eh. Although the thing is, like with the Iliad and like Troy, it really does seem like that whole story is it is not fair in love and war. Fuck you, and then and then just kind of everybody got screwed over. Something I like with the way that I'm doing the cosmology, I think I brought this up. My memory's bad. My memory's bad, and I'm currently unmedicated for ADHD, so, but like, what I love with the way that I'm doing the cosmology is it allows fully for, like, different pantheons and beliefs and different gods and different spirits and different, like, everything, all to coexist while still being, like, fundamentally magic as a setting, right? I like that, and I like the complex idea of like, well, everything is an idea already, and the idea is having its own ideas, and those ideas are feeding into everything. It's like a feedback loop of complexity, and it's cool and awesome. And if you like really get into it, it's like, my brain is melting in the sort of way that reality does sometimes, if you like go deep into the weeds. I like settings and cosmology systems that are complicated and allow people in universe to be scholars of it, and like allows magic also to like magicians and like or not magicians, but like magic users in general to have different schools of thought and different and different ways of doing things and different ways of like manifesting magic that still makes sense in certain ways. And it's sort of like they're more like specific fields of science, right? Like a biologist is going to think differently than an archaeologist, who's going to think a bit differently than a paleontologist, who's thinking differently than like an engineer or like a physicist, or like, you know, all these things. But and it's like that, but with magic. Right, and people who focus their entire like world of study on the different, like, for lack of a better term, the different planes, and so like I am a specialist on this specific part of the what we call the plane of fire in layman's terms, but really it's more complicated than that, yada yada, and so on and so forth. You see, actually all of these things come together and yada yada yada, and then just sort of I want to have people in universe just really neurodivergently rant about their favorite part of reality. Yes, I study a specific family of flora within the Feywild. You see, it's truly complicated. It changes every single day. You see that they actually react very atypically to magic, and like they're messing with the weave of reality, the waves of energy that make up everything. They react atypically from our perspective as material beings and such and so forth. Right, like that type of shit. Also, I just made up lore there. I'm glad this is being recorded onto YouTube, because now this is just up there. Water is splendid. And like I feel like that also allows for things like magical engineers, you know, in the same way that like artificers or like specifically like the Dwemer did, right? Where it's like, well, we are digging into the font of reality and forming it into these mechanisms, and we're like, it's all about these frequencies, right? It's you can tell I've been really influenced by Kirkbride with a lot of stuff, because it's like, yeah, no, I can call back to like Elder Scrolls and like the Dwemer and like how that works, and like even like the Thuum, right, is like you're speaking effects into reality, and speaking is a way of creating waves in the air, and thus if you do it just right, theoretically you could create waves in like magic, right? And then thus you have like verbal components of a spell, basically. I like hand signs, like if you want like somatic components of like a spell in D&D terms. It's like, yeah, you're moving around, like you're literally plucking with your hands the world and you're manifesting it in particular way, like in a particular way to create the effect you want. Like if it takes a material, I don't know yet. I think it might be like the collective association of the particular elements of the spell on like the idea the idea put back onto reality of like, for instance, fireball, right? It takes like like bat guano, whatever. It takes what it does because those are things that are associated with blowing shit up, and so through that association, you can better like create an effect of like the world through like basically thinking hard enough. And once again, the most powerful mages are also the most artistic, I guess, in this setting, which are exactly how it should be. Same as scientists. Ah, splendid. Let me switch some more. I am bunched up like an accordion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I am bunched up like an accordion. Alright, that's better. I think I have talked long enough about the cosmology. I think I do want to show you something because I don't think you were here for it. I will need to open up Critter yet again. Critter! Critter, my friend! They have a new image and I kind of don't like the new image of like the Critter mascot that they have for opening it. Like nearly as much. It feels a little less dynamic. Obsidian Capture first on YouTube, and then Obsidian Capture on Twitch. I've made some progress on this art piece. Yeah, like I've shown some stuff in like the art channel on the Discord and the tabletop chat in various like trying to figure out myself exactly where this goes since it's technically both. But like I've been doing a lot. There's gonna be goblins also. I haven't done the sketch or the line art for them yet, but they will be here. I just want to get like the rest of the swamp to be taken care of. If I get rid of the swamp sketch and the party sketch, this is in objective terms what I've done so far. A lot of like little itty bitty squiggles and details and like, yeah. And like there are gonna be like large swaths of any gremlins, perhaps, probably, most likely. Some gremlins might be irregular. Very atypical, very irregular gremlins. You know. Yeah, gremlins probably exist. Like just generally, as far as I think about it, it's just we're focusing on goblins in this adventure. I think gremlins might be like a colloquial not a colloquial term, but like a more urban sort of variety of goblinoid, maybe. Like you know how raccoons have sort of evolved in human spaces to be smarter and like and shit. Like imagine that, but goblins, and then give them like a longer span of time, and then you have gremlins. Maybe. Imagine a little guy getting into your garbage rather than like a creature. Do you, what's like the animal that gets into your guys' garbage? Are you implying gremlins are self-domesticated goblins? I think so. I think that's what I'm saying. Right? Like, that could be interesting. In this setting, I believe so. They are self-domesticated. It's definitely an interesting idea, but yeah, I've shown off the art. I will go and turn on the obsidian captures once again. I will capture you in an orb of obsidian. My classic obsidian orb. In which I should capture all the souls of those who... Foxes, badgers, the occasional bear, and even moose if they want to. And of course, the local Swede. I see, of course. Of course, yeah, you know, yeah. Neighbors do tend to get into other people's garbage. That is a thing that happens. Yeah, like the raccoons are like the big ones here. Coyotes. I guess foxes. I haven't really seen a badger. I know there's an American badger, but I haven't really seen any. Let me look up American badger habitat. American badger range. Ah, that's why they conveniently missed the Pacific Northwest in like not in like they do not go west of the Cascade Mountains. That's why I've never seen an American badger in real life. Yeah, they don't cross the Cascades, even though they're all across the Rockies. I don't get it. Maybe they just like don't want to or something. Ah. The crows. Crows love to get in garbage. Stray dog if you're unlucky. You know, if you're really unlucky, you'll find somebody from Idaho, like scrounging through your trash. California, maybe, because like more because they're just having a rough time out in California. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with Californians. It's just that man, they have to live through Gavin Newsom. My favorite governor, Gavin. I revere Israel Newsom. I love that he said that. The reason I love that he said that is because I can point to that and go, "Hey, he fucking sucks. Don't vote for Gavin Newsom." I hate Gavin Newsom. He eats poor people. There's no like actual proof of him physically eating poor people, but like if it came out that he cannibalized like homeless people, I would be the least surprised person on this planet. Like he did. that is a monster behind those eyes. Like I say this with no hyperbole, by the way. I'm not exaggerating for comedic effect. That man is not a good person. That's where the island jerky came from. Yeah. It always comes back to the fucking jerky. I think it's really interesting that it's like, oh yeah, the dreamer had the idea of dwarf, and that's where like the idea of dwarf came from, and then it got more complicated as time went on, and then the dwarves started bringing their own ideas of what they are, and everything around them had ideas of what a dwarf is. I'm using dwarves as an example, but like same with humanity, same with everybody, but still, like I don't know, it's a really interesting idea of like there is some basic form of like there is a consensus of this thing that came from the dreamer, for a lack of a it turns out the dreamer is just Pelocus. It's a Pelocus Rayman. It's the bubble dreamer. They need a hero to save them now, don't you think? This is the story of Rayman! I fucking... Right, like you know, that idea of like somebody dreaming the world into being. Ah. Alright, but yeah, no. Because I moved the stream to today, I have a D&D session later today. So I am going to go to just chatting, and I am going to do my ending read now because I don't want to accidentally go past time and be late to a session that with my friends that I enjoy. So yeah, I'm gonna do my ending read now. I've been Bajongles. You can find me over here on Twitch Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at noon Pacific Standard Time. I'd much appreciate a follow. Speaking of follow, you can follow me over on Blue Sky and Tumblr, both at BigBoyArt1, username Bajongles. And if you'd be so kind, you could join the Discord, either !Discord in the chat, or in the description, fly you fool, you have a nice session with your friends. Yeah, exactly. We're in the universe of Chainsaw Man. It's very fun. Most of us are gonna die. Down the description below on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, hi YouTube, if you like my stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be back on Easter Sunday to kill the totally not Pope, don't worry about it, in the world of Blasphemous. I didn't plan this, it's just very convenient. And then on Monday, I will be back on the Discord server to do some multiplayer Monday. And then on Tuesday, I will be finishing up the One Piece fan art of Helmeppo and Kobe. And so with that, it has been a wonderful time. I will catch you all on the flip-flop. Bye-bye.